Welcome to chapter 22. This is the chapter on the strong verb derived stems. Now, this is this is the most important chapter, along with chapters 17 through 19, on strong verbs in the Hebrew verbal system. This chart that we learn in section 22.6, the synopsis of the strong verbs on page 136 and 137, will be the chart or the boxes that we will talk about for the rest of the book. We're going to particularly highlight it in 22 or 23 through 25 when we start to actually create verbs using the call paradigm from 17 through 19 and using this chart in 22.6. So very important chart to learn and understand. So let's look through this chart here. And what I want to try to do here is just show you, this actually is a sheet on our Moodle page that you can use, again, to just write this paradigm out, write this chart out again and 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 again. Okay? Repetition is the way that we engage this language, and so that's going to be the best way to learn it. Obviously, we're not speaking this, so to write this chart out again and again and again is going to be very helpful. And so what I want to show you is kind of how we do this. And I believe that Dr. Fuller will mention that if you learn how to spell these words, that will help you with creating these boxes. These boxes are actually a set of I guess what we would say jots and tittles, a set of vowel patterns, Masoretic accents, and markings that we superimpose over any triliteral verbal root. So the boxes that we have here, let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you. The boxes that we have here would be, if you can think about just putting katal in this, that would be the triliteral root. And so our PL initially would be P and then L. Remember the quotation marks here represent a Dagesh forte in the R2, and we would be left with Kitel. Okay, so P, I goes there, and then the L, we'll get to that in just a minute, okay? But there would be the box. So let me back up a little bit, and basically what we're looking at then is just our box like this. That's it, okay? And then in the imperfect, we're going to get yekatel, okay, a little different. The PL becomes a pa-L outside of the perfect, so then our imperative is here, and our infinitive is also here. You won't get those confused, trust me. Other context will show you. And then the participle, we start to get this mem, mea, in that instance. Okay, so there's the PL boxes. Related to the theme vowels in the PL, we're going to go A-E/E. And remember, anything on the right side of the slash is the imperfect imperative theme vowels. Theme vowel being the one that goes underneath the R2. Okay, oops, that was not straight. So kitel is what we would have there. And then the right side is anything that, oh, I should have done this. Yeah, katel, there we go. The imperfect imperative. And then on the left side of the slash, it's going to be anything in the perfect. Remember that this lowercase represents all third persons. The book tells you that it's third singular masculine, and that is true, but it's also all third persons. So let me see if I can slide this little guy over, and let's look at the pual. Again, if you can spell them, you can do it. So the double quotes equals a Dagesh forte in the R2, and then we have the kibbutz, pual, okay? There we go. And this one's going to have the performative of the imperfect, and then in the participle we get the performative of the participle and the u and the dagesh. There we go. Theme vowels here, A/A. Very good. Now let's move to the hith pa'el. This one has the longest spelling, and has the longest set of vowels, A-E / E-A. Now, on the imperfect imperative side of the theme vowels, the lowercase letter represents feminine plurals. Okay, feminine plurals, 2 FP, 3 FP. Both of those will take the lowercase theme vowel in this designation. Again, if you can spell them, we get the double quote, we get the dagesh, and we have hit. You see how we did that? Hit, and then the dagesh. We're going to use this little preformative yit. Then we go back to hit. That's not a hit. Hit, and the infinitive, we get hit as well. And then we get our participle mem, participle performative mit, right like that. Okay? So I think you guys can start to see how this is developing. Let's move to the next one. And I think that I moved these up just a little bit. So let's begin to look at these. Now notice we don't have the double quotation marks up here at all. So we're not going to get that dagesh in the R2 anymore. Okay, so again, spell these words. If we can do hifil, we've got hif. Okay, and then we have, again, hifil becomes yafil. It's similar to how PL became pa'el. So we have hi, ya, and then we have ha, and we have ma. So there is the forms of the hifil vowels. We have a, I / E. Again, perfect. These are 3 MSs. Imperfect. This is feminine plurals. Okay, so get those designations. Down. Now, watch this right here. I just looked over at the textbook, and what I saw here was with this little I, Dr. Fuller lists out 3 MS, 3 FS, and 3 CP. The reason for that is because if we have, let's just do this one, okay? So we superimpose the boxes. Our theme vowel is an I, that represents a Hirik Yod, and let's do the third feminine singular, ah. If we have this vocalic ending on the end, we typically will reduce the theme vowel in the R2. However, because it's a historic long vowel, we do not reduce it. So this is why earlier we told you to learn the lowercase letter of the perfect as all third persons, because here is an instance where we do not reduce it. And it stays, okay? So I hope that kind of made sense to you now as to why we learned it as all third persons earlier. I'm going to rewrite that. A, I / I, E, okay? I erased some of my hey right here, okay? So again, learn to spell these and you can knock them out. Let's keep going over and let's move over to the Hofal. Okay, so Hofal, we're going to have AA theme vowel, and we're going to have our, that looked weird, we're going to have our blessed Komet Satuf, Ho, and then we get Yo, and then we get Mo. Okay. We are missing imperative and infinitive boxes for the Hofal and for the Pual. The reason is because those forms don't occur in the Hebrew Bible. So we would typically have boxes here for those. Those are theoretical forms. But because we don't see them in the Hebrew Bible, we aren't really that concerned about memorizing them. Okay. So let's move then to the Nifal. And this is going to be the last stem that we learn. I'm trying to get this thing a little bit bigger so I can write on it. There we go. The theme vowel here is going to be A / E A. And again, lowercase letter, all feminine plurals. And in this case, we end up with ne. And then we end up with yit ah. So this one's a little different, okay? And then we get hit ah. So memorize that one. The infinitive here is actually going to take two forms, nit and hit ah. So keep that in mind as you're learning these. That'll take both forms, and in the participle we're back to nit. Okay. Now other things are going to have to designate which of these forms, this one or this one, are we're looking at in context. Okay, but oh, my eraser has gone. So let's do this. It's going to have to determine which one you're looking at in context, but that won't throw you off. We'll be able to figure that out with thematic vowels. Notice or keep in mind that on the imperfect imperative, we're going to have these theme vowels. With the participles, we're going to have different theme vowels. So let's look next at the thematic vowels for the participles and infinitives, because they are going to be, we need to know these. These theme vowels here give us the imperfect imperatives and the perfects, but we need to know now the theme vowels for the infinitives and for the participles. So when we come to color here, this is another pedagogical designation that Dr. Fuller uses. If you look at some of the charts in the very back of the book, you'll see that he can lay them out by color, and they take on a certain form, certain shapes to the colors. And this is, if it's helpful for you to think in terms of colors, that's great. A is red, E and I is green. O is orange, so like a Comet Satu for a holum. So if it helps you to think in terms of colors, do that. If it doesn't help you, then don't worry about it. I find that the colors a lot of times can be confusing, but you'll hear Dr. Fuller go back and forth, so kind of know that that's what he's talking about if he refers to colors. And so then when we get to the infinitive absolute, we can kind of just start to look at these. With the infinitive absolute, we have O, or orange, if you want to think about it in this way. And the stems here are the nifal and the PL. Yeah, there we go. Nifal and the PL. The pual would also be orange if we had a pual infinitive. Just know that, but remember we didn't learn an infinitive box for the pual, so we kind of leave that out. But the nifal and the PL. We also get infinitive absolutes that have an E thematic vowel, and this is going to be the rest of them. PL can go both ways, okay? And then we have the hifil, and we have the hithpael. Okay, we've left the hofal and the pual off of this one. Let me erase pual up here just so you don't get confused, okay? Just know that the two passive stems are out on this one. PL can go both ways. And the context will help you with that. That won't throw you off. And so there we go, infinitive absolute. With the infinitive construct, it's all green, okay? It's all E or green if you want to think of it that way. And we have the PL, the hifil. It's hard to write with these stylus, styli, however you pluralize that. Sorry, I kind of hyphenated that one. The hithpael and then the nifal is also going to be green in the infinitive construct. So they're all there. Again, take out the passives, the pual and the hofal, and all of those are going to be green. And I believe that I have the participle. Yeah, the participle colors I have listed here on their own. Participles. Now, with participles, it's a lot easier. We don't need to be concerned with is it orange or green, or which one is green, or which one goes both ways, or which one is which. With the participles, what you want to do is look at the final vowel of the name. So, watch this. PL, pual, hith, Pael, Hifil, Hofal, and Nifal. So if you want to know what the theme vowel is for the participles, we're going to do it like this. Okay, the green ones, PL, Hifil, Hithpael. Okay, so we would go E theme vowels here. I'm going to go EI theme vowels here are going to be PL, Hifil, and Hithpael. And the reason for that is because of the theme vowels right there, or the vowels in the spelling. So again, if you can learn to spell these, it becomes remarkably helpful. And so the other ones then, with the A, are going to be what we call red. Okay, so we would then get Pual, Hofal, and Nifal in that section. Okay, and this chart with the theme vowels is on page 137 at the top, but it is part of the whole section of one. Sorry, my computer logged out, and I don't know if I'm still recording or not. Maybe I am. We'll see. And so there is the theme vowel chart for chapter 22.6. So work on this. Work on getting this under your belt. This chart will be remarkably helpful as we move forward, and I'll show you how to use it in the next few chapters. As always, email me with any questions that you have.